Well, boys and girls, if you've been living under a rock the last couple of years, things haven't been going very well for Lord of the Rings video games after the disastrous dumpster fire that was the very much and broken game that was Gollum, that was basically impossible to play and was absolutely hilarious to watch some of our favorite YouTubers actually give that a shot and even try to do that out there. And even watching Gary from Nerdrotic play that was even more hilarious. But getting Az to get absolutely frustrated and lose his mind over that game was worth every single penny of this that they spent on this absolutely disastrous dumpster fire game. Well, things have gotten so bad now that the former conglomerate that was responsible for all of the Lord of the Rings games out there, the Embracer Group, is now going to separate into three standalone entities. Yes, they have damaged the Lord of the Rings brand so bad and made so many mistakes with all of that kind of stuff out there that now it is going to be cause even more division. And honestly, this is what we're all about, right? We love decentralization. The less big corporations handling way too many ITVs, handling way too much stuff, and getting a lot of things lost inside of the corporate nonsense that is the DIE and everything else that they've got going on. It's one of those situations where this is probably the best thing in the world for Lord of the Rings fans out there, and especially for fans of the Lord of the Rings video games out there. So let's check this out. Let's see what they're kind of breaking things down into, and let's see what we're going to get into. But make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Lord of the Rings owner Embracer to separate into these standalone publicly listed entities. Or if you're on our dear sweet Rumble, please hit that follow button. Lord of the Rings owner Embracer is separating the group into three games and entertainment companies: Asmodee Group, Coffee Stain and Friends, and Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. Asmodee is a tabletop games publisher and distributor with a studio, network, and IP catalog. And I mean, that actually makes sense. Why would you have that loaded up with all of the exact same gaming companies and stuff like that? Tabletop games and video games are very different systems with very, very different development processes. It didn't make a lot of sense to roll this together as once. But at the end of the day, a lot of these corporations are just concentrated in control, making sure they control every single aspect of what's going on. So, of course, that's what they wanted. And now they're lurking out that, hey, maybe that wasn't such a good idea after all. And decentralization is generally the best path forward. Coffee Stain and Friends is a gaming entity with a dual focus on indie and AA premium and free-to-play games for its PC, console, and mobile. Once again, makes sense. Completely different style of games, and honestly, that's where we're getting some of the best stuff from right now. Is the indie the A and AA games like that. I mean, we've seen what Helldivers has done to this, taking Storm by the World. I mean, Pow World did that for quite a while as well. You know, Party Animals. There's a lot of people out there that are still playing it on a regular basis. So there's a lot of A and AA games out there and indie games that are just absolutely crushing it. So once again, I think that I count this as a win. I think this is an overall good thing for everybody. Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends is known for its AAA game development and the publishing for PC and console, as well as managing Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider IPs. Ooh, rest in peace, all of our Tomb Raider fans out there. Sorry about what happened to your IP. AAA is the term used to classify video games produced or distributed by a major publisher, which usually has a higher development and marketing budgets than other tiers of games, which also is going to make things look better at the end of the day on the books, right? If you don't have everything conglomerated together, so if you have a major loss, i.e. the Smeagol game, then you don't have to worry about it affecting the budgets of everything else and affecting the bottom line and everything else. It's definitely a way to distribute and at least minimize loss when it's only with one section of the company. The company's board of directors proposes that shares in two of these entities, Asmodee and Coffee Stain with Friends, will be distributed to shareholders of Embracer Group and listed on NASDAQ Stockholm. Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends will remain within current listed company Embracer Group, which will eventually be renamed at the same time as the Coffee Stains and Friends spinoff. So it looks like basically if you've got stock in Embracer Group, you're going to get it divided up among all of these different kind of little new entities that they're creating. Shareholders representing more than 50% of the capital and votes in Embracer Group have expressed support for the plan, the company said. Embracer, a Swedish gaming conglomerate who snapped up the rights to Lord of the Rings 2 years ago, has undergone a severe restructuring program over the past year, which has seen the company shut down or dispose of dozens of game studios and titles, and lay off hundreds of staff, resulting in aftershocks that reverberated through the games industry. In a report published in February, the company revealed it had cut 8% of its global workforce, which at the end of the day, with a company this big, equals out to thousands upon thousands of employees. That's absolutely insane. So it's basically like they decided to bite off more than they could chew. They bought a bunch of stuff. They decided when the money was good, when the money was flowing, everybody was getting a lot of that free cash from the government, getting all of those big subsidies. I mean, the money printer was going during 20 and 21, the government using any excuse to flush cash into the system and try to prop up as many of these companies as can. And guess what? Good times are over. All that free money is gone now, and free money. Oh my God, the inflation rates alone. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But literally, it's all of this government money that they just handed out to people. They bought a bunch of stuff. They upsized. They created bigger companies. And guess what? Now they're facing the consequences. Shrinkflation is real. Ladies and gentlemen, inflation is very real. And yes, we are in a recession no matter what they're telling you. And these are just some of the consequences of that. Plus, when you create a game like Smeagol that God only knows how much money you cost, that was completely and totally broken, completely and totally irreparable, and people were asking for refunds constantly. Well, any company that continues to produce quality a quality of games like that is going to continue to fail miserably. At the end of the day, it's like we always say, make the fans happy, we'll make you rich. Make us upset, piss us off, and give us crappy quality product, and you're going to end up closing down and shutting down just like everybody else.